Tuloy natin. Ayan. Okay, so we are now recording and we'll continue chapter 3 discussion today. Okay, so the goal is to end the entire chapter and hopefully you'll be able to do some basic calculations involving chemical equilibrium. Okay, so if you can still recall last week, okay, Valentine's yun, we were able to have an idea about equilibrium constant and the calculation, some basic calculation about it. Okay, so again, just to recall, chemical equilibrium is a state of system wherein the rates of forward and reverse reactions are equal. Okay, so meaning there's an equal tendency of your substances producing reactant to product and the products to reactant. Okay, so same tendency. So kumbaga, it seems that everything is in balance. Okay, and then quantitatively we can measure the extent of equilibrium system using the equilibrium constant k, and whatever the k value is, it can tell us whether everything is equally balanced or one side is more favored than the other. Okay, so remember we have three possible values for k. So if k is equal to 1, then your system is in complete uh, sta stability. Okay, so basically in full equilibrium siya. Okay, and then if your k is less than 1, the ratio will only be less than 1 if your reactants are favored. Okay, favored reactants. Okay, and then if your k is greater than 1, then probably your numerator is greater than the denominator, meaning that you favor your products. Okay, so yun yung ating mga interpretation when it comes to K. So last time, I introduced you about the two types of K, Kc and Kp, and then how to write them, and then the relationship of Kc and Kp. Then we were able to do some basic calculations. By the way, I think dito sa class yun. No? Okay, so I made some error last time, especially kay NO. Okay, so I forgot to raise the NO by 2. Okay, diba dapat naka-square siya. So I forgot the square. So kindly rewrite your solution na lang that time. Okay. And then the case can be operated with. Ibig sabihin, we can do some manipulation, algebraic manipulation to it. No? And that will have an effect with your equation. So now let's proceed with this one of the most important topic probably, okay, in analytical chemistry. Okay, so this topic is about uh, it is about the direction of reaction, okay, and the reaction quotient. So ano ba meron, no? So 'di ba, what we want is the K, the equilibrium system. Okay? Kasi in thermodynamics, equilibrium states na yun yung pinaka lowest energy overall. In chemical system that is also true. Okay? So parang yun yung gusto ng lahat ng bagay sa mundo. Okay? To reach equilibrium or to reach the K value. However, when you are doing chemical reactions, it really doesn't turn into K agad-agad, no? So there will be a gradual change, no? When it comes to the concentration of your species, no? So for example, you are making, you just say you are making alcohol from sugar. Okay, nag-fermentation kayo sa bahay, gagawa kayo ng lambanog. Pag pinalo mo ba yung asukal and other stuff, does it instantly turn into your alcohol, di ba? Hindi ganon. But what happens is that there will be a slow change in the presence or in the concentration of your chemicals until they reach the equilibrium state. Okay? So dahan-dahan yung flow ng reaction. Ngayon, the flow of the reaction may go in one direction or the other. So when I say one direction or the other, I'm just pertaining to reactions proceeding to the right side or the formation of products or Pwede rin naman yung reactions to the left side, no? Proceeding to the reactant side, no? So, depende sa dami ng initial chemicals mo, one side of the reaction will be favored. Okay? So now, in order for us to know saan direction pupunta yung ating reaction, we need to determine the value of Q. And we have to contrast it with the value of K. Okay? So para malaman mo saan mapupunta yung reaction mo, given your initial concentrations, we need to know Q. And then pag alam mo na si Q, i-compare mo siya kay K. Okay? So, ganun lang bali mangyayari sa atin. So, ang equilibrium constant is what we want. The Q or the reaction coefficient is where we are at. Okay? This is yung want natin. Andito tayo. Okay? Where we at. Andito tayo. Ano yung gusto natin puntahan? K. Nasaan tayo? Nasa Q. Okay? So, the Q and K have very similar equation. However, I'd like to emphasize that in the Q equation, you have your letter I. Letter I meaning initial. Okay? So those are the initial concentration. Dito kasi sa K, always remember na equilibrium concentrations yan. Okay? If you can recall the previous questions, no, lahat ng mga yan ay equilibrium values. Okay? Such as this one, equilibrium partial pressure. So meaning, after na mangyari yung chemical reaction, dun mo lang siya mineasure. But this time, we have to determine the initial, no? Yung bago mo pa ilagay sa reacting vessel. Okay? So, ngayon, so since Q and K have values, okay, ibig sabihin, we need to compare them after. So, this is a line, ano ba tawag dito? Number line. Okay, so para siyang number line wherein the blue circle is your K. Okay? And sabi natin, dito yung gusto natin puntahan. Okay? So this is what we want. Okay? However, the Q may have different positions relative to the K depending on the amount of the substances you introduce to your system. Okay? Minsan baka sobra masyado yung product o kaya baka sobra masyado yung reactant. Okay? So, yun yung mga iba-ibang pwedeng mangyari. So, depending on the initial amount of your chemical substances, your reaction may proceed to one direction. Okay? So, pwedeng towards the product side, towards the reactant side, or by chance, nasa equilibrium na siya. Okay? So, ganun. Yung K yung gusto natin puntahan, yung Q, andun tayo. And depending on the value of Q, may iba-ibang direction siya na pwede puntahan. Let's say your Q is less than the K. Okay? Ibig sabihin, mas malaki yung equilibrium constant kaysa sa Q. Using the number line, we can visualize where the point must go. Okay? Where the system must go. So, yung orange circle, yun yung Q. Okay? And then yung blue is yung K. So, just looking at the number line, since yung Q, ito tayo, K yung gusto natin puntahan. So, if you want to go to the K, you have to really go to the right side. Or, in chemical equation, that means towards the product side. We usually signify that by this type of arrow, wherein the arrow to the right is bigger. Okay? Kapag may arrow to the right, bigger, ibig sabihin nun that the reaction is going to the product side. However, if your Q is greater than K, greater than, ibig sabihin lagpas siya sa K, di ba? So this is our K, this is our Q, lumagpas ka sa destination mo. So what you will do, you need to go back, okay? And that can be shown by an arrow to the left. Or in equilibrium arrow, we can write it this way. Okay? To the left yung arrow natin. Meaning, we have to go back, no? We have to convert some chemicals in order to achieve the K. Okay? So, the reaction is going to the reactant side. Kapag ano naman, Q is less than K, the reaction is going to the product side. And what if Q and K are equal? Then, wala nang mangyayari sa ating system. Okay? So, it will just stay as is, no? Yan. So, basically, those are the things that we have to remember first. Okay, that Q is similar with K, with exception to the initial concentration siya. Okay, and depending on the position of Q and K in your number line, you can have different directions. Okay, so important to. So I hope na ma-retain. Okay, because later we will apply this topic in the actual equilibrium problem. So again, hindi pa to ano ha, hindi pa ito yung mismong equilibrium. Mamaya pa yung actual. Okay? So let's try this problem. Okay? By the way, may suggestion ako. Siguro sa mga following meetings, mayroon akong tatawagin na magbabasa na lang. Nakakapagod din kasi magbasa eh. May first reader tayo, second reader, ganun. Okay? Medyo na dry agad yung throat ko kasi pag binasa ko lahat. Okay, so anyway, let's read. At the start of a reaction, there are 0.351 mole of nitrogen gas, 3.67 times 10 raised to negative 2 moles of hydrogen gas, and 7.51 times 10 raised to negative 4 moles of ammonia in a 3.75 vessel, a reaction vessel at 375 degrees Celsius. If the equilibrium constant is 1.2, predict the net reaction at equilibrium. Okay, given the equation below. Ano yung sabi? Ang sabi, at the start of the reaction, yun yung amount ng chemicals natin. Okay? Basta narinig nyo yung term na at the start, okay, o kaya yung initially, it suggests na you have to look for the reaction quotient. Okay? So, ganun agad yung interpretation. When you read the problem, and you saw yung word na at the start, o kaya yung initially, it suggests you to solve for the value of Q. Okay? And looking at the second sentence, binigay na rin yung equilibrium constant. So, you really need to compare the value of Q and the K so that you can tell where the reaction is going. Is it to the left? Is it to the right? To the reactant? To the product? We don't know. So that's what we are going to solve. So now, how will you establish or how will you write the reaction quotient? So basically, the reaction quotient has the same expression as your K, except na may letter I siya sa ilalim. Okay? So it is the same as the K, except for the little, yung mga maliliit na I. Okay? Mga maliliit na letter I. So meaning nun, at the start of reaction. Okay? So let's write the Q for the equation, and I hope na nakapag-practice na. So let's try this. So in the product side, in the numerator, you have your ammonia squared, and in your denominator, you have your nitrogen gas and your hydrogen gas cube. Okay? So yun. So alam naman kung paano nangyari yan, na? So, dapat lang alam na yan. Okay? So again, the Q and the K are very similar except for the little I letters sa ilalim. Okay? So you have to put letter I sa ilalim. Okay? So ibig sabihin, pag nagawa ka ng problem set, ganyan din ha. May mga small letter I sa ilalim. Okay? So that's the Q. Now, always remember, when you see square brackets, what does it mean? It means concentration. Okay. So this is my question sa class, no? How will I solve for the concentration? Just look at the problem and then tell me what should I do. Okay. Paano ko kaya kukunin yung concentration ng mga chemicals ng NH3, ng N2, ng H2? Paano ko sila kukunin? Again, the concentration is the molarity. How will I solve for the molarity given the problem? Okay? Anyone? Baka may suggestion kayo. Any idea? Paano ko kukunin yung molarity sa problem? Andyan pa ba? Dali. Hindi tayo makakapag-proceed pag di nyo nasagot yan. Kasi important yan eh. Paano kukunin yung molarity? Just look at the problem. What's your answer kaya? Wala, nakalimutan nyo na. Anyway, I'll give the answer na. Pero wag nyo ito kakalimutan. Again, sabi ko, kapag square bracket, you need concentration in units of molarity. What's molarity? Mole per liter. Look at the given. May mole, may liter. So basically, the answer to the question I am raising earlier is to just divide the moles by the volume. So yun lang yung hinahanap ko earlier. Okay? So you just need to divide the mole of your substances, your N2, your H2, and your NH3. You just divide their moles so that you can get the molarity, no? So divide their moles by the volume to get the molarity. Okay? Huwag nyo kakalimutan yon kasi mas maraming ganyan pa sa quiz and of course sa examination. And hindi lang yan dito, no? Until the end of chemistry, puro equilibrium tayo. So you really have to master this topic. Okay? So yan. So that's it, no? So let's try to solve for the Q. I will not individually convert the concentrations kasi mauubos yung time ko. So basically, gagawin ko na lang is just based on how it is written in the equation, dun ko na sa equation i-divide sila lahat. Okay? So, let's try that. Okay? So in the numerator, I have my initial concentration of ammonia. According to the problem, you have 7.51 times 10 raised to negative 4 moles of ammonia. And then to get the concentration, I have to divide the moles by the liters. Okay? So by doing this, I have the molarity of ammonia. Okay? So ganyan na. Hindi ko siya isosolve isa-isa. Kasi kapag inisa-isa ko yan, mauubos ang oras natin. Okay? So, and also, maganda rin na ginanito muna kasi hindi ka na magra-round off. Diba? Kasi if you calculate it separately, you will need to round off. Okay? So that's the concentration of ammonia. Just divide the moles by the volume. Okay? Do not forget that. Because analytical chem hanggang dulo, puro ganyan. Okay? And then that is followed by N2. Okay? The amount of nitrogen gas. Okay? So to solve for the concentration of N2, okay? So just simply divide 0.351 by 3.75. Okay? And then lastly, you have your H2. This is 3.67 times 10 raised to negative 2. So 3.67 is 10 negative 2 moles divided by the volume, 3.75. And that must be cubed. Okay? Given the concentrations for each chemicals, so in the numerator, I have ammonia. So that's 7.51 times 10 raised to negative 4 divided by 3.75. So that's mole per liter concentration unit. And in the denominator, I have my nitrogen gas, 0.351 divided by 3.75. And for hydrogen gas, it's 3.67 times 10 raised to negative 2 divided by 3.75. And of course, do not forget the exponents. Na? So, nakalimutan natin to last time. Okay. So, yan. So, 2 and 3. So, ano na gagawin? And you use your calculator. Okay. So, let's use the calculator. Okay. So, let's use the calculator so we can solve for the value of the Q. Okay. So, kung maunahan niyo ako magpindot, so let me just paramdam lang kayo sa chat box. Okay. 7.51 times 10 raised to negative 4 divided by, asa na labas? So that's divided by 3.75, then squared. In the denominator, I have two fractions here. So 0.351, 3.75. Then another fraction, 3.67 times 10 raised to negative 2 divided by 3.75 is to 3. So this is how you should type your equation, okay? So pagsama-samahin nyo na yung concentration units. Kasi if you do it separately, it will take a lot of time. And remember, pag nag-quiz kayo, there will be lots of equilibrium problems and very limited time. Okay? So kailangan mabilis mag-isip kung paano kukunin yung concentration. Okay? So the numerator, 751, 10, negative 4, 375 square. Okay. In the denominator, that's 351, 375, 367, negative 2, 375, then Q. Okay. So the value for Q is, okay, 0.46. Kahit ano na lang, 2 decimal place, okay lang naman. So that's the value of Q, 0.46. No? Nasaan yung mouse? Okay, so Q is 0.46. Now, we are asked to determine the net reaction. Pag sinabing net reaction, it just asks you where the reaction is going. No? Is it to the left, to the right? Okay? So, ano gagawin natin? We can just look at the illustration I shown you earlier. Pero wag natin tignan. Gusto ko kasi kayo mismo yung maka-imagine ng number line na yan. Okay. So, how will you construct the number line? So, ganito ginagawa ng mga students ko. Ganito dati, bago mag-lockdown. So, sabi ko sa kanila, you draw a line. Okay. And then, in the middle of that line, you have your KC. So, remember, this is what we want. Diba? So, the KC is what we want, and the value of KC is 1.2. Now, ano yun sa kasunod? So, you have your KC value, and you have your Q value, right? So, asan yung Q value? 0.46. The question is, where is it in the number line? Nasa left ba? Nasa right? What do you think? Where is the Q value? Nasa left? Nasa right? Nasa left. Okay, so that's correct. Your Q must be on the left. Kasi it's 0.46 di ba? In the number line, yung 0 nasa left, yung positive number nasa right, di ba? Okay, so your Q is somewhere here, no? Q is 0.46. Now, ganito yung gawin niya. Okay? Para hindi nyo nakabisaduhin yung sa previous slide. Okay? Wag nyo kabisaduhin kasi to be honest with you, nung trinay ko yung kabisaduhin ng student pa ako, nalito lang ako. Kaya since I discovered itong number line, hindi na ako nalito. So I just create this number line. In the middle, I have the KC. And then yung Q, ito yung hinahanap. Okay? Sorry, ito yung na-solve natin. Ngayon, if you want your Q to be K, it needs to move to the right direction. Okay? Kailangan niya pumunta to the right so that it will meet the KC. So what does that mean in terms of the direction of reaction? Okay? Does it go to the product side or to the reactant side? What do you think? In terms of the position of your Q and the KC, where should the reaction go? To the product or to the reactant? Okay? Where do you think the reaction should go? To the product side, correct? Okay? Kaya nga naka-right arrow na eh. Okay? So again, by convention, reactant sa left, product sa right. So as you can see, the arrow of showing Q going to KC, okay, is pointed to the right. Okay? So ibig sabihin yan, pag to the right yung arrow natin, the reaction, ito yung conclusion natin, the reaction will proceed, okay, will proceed to the product side. Okay? So yun yung pinaka-tanong dyan. Okay? So the reaction will proceed to the product side because Q is less than the K. So what does that mean? Ibig sabihin lang yan, if it proceeds to the product side, the sum of the nitrogen gas and sum of the hydrogen gas will get converted to form the ammonia. So ibig sabihin, yung concentration ng ammonia, madadagdagan siya over time, while the concentration of nitrogen and hydrogen gases, mababawasan sila. So again, they need to form the product. Okay? So yun lang yung meaning natin, that the reaction will proceed to the product side. Meaning your reactants will decrease in the concentration while the product will increase in the concentration. Okay? Ganun lang siya ka-simple. Simple pa yan. Kasi later may quadratic equation tayo. Gusto ko matanggap na mamaya magka-quadratic tayo. Okay? Para wala nang gulatan. Okay? Pero kayang-kaya yan kasi shortcut yung ituturo ko. Okay. Ayoko yung gawin yung yung negative b plus minus square root of b square minus 4ac over 2a. Huwag na natin gawin yung ganun. Shortcut ibibigay ko. Okay? Do you have any question, clarification? Or okay pa naman? Okay, so again, you really need to master this. Kaya ako na yung nagsasabi, kapag may question, clarification, let me know lang. Okay? Kasi baka mamaya may nagkamali uli ako ng sulat. Okay? So, let's proceed with the next question. For the next question, I will have the same question to you, gaya ng tanong ko kanina. No? So, babasahin ko muna. Okay, the equilibrium constant Kc for the formation of nitrosyl chloride from nitric oxide and molecular chlorine is 6.5 times 10 raised to 4 at 35 degrees Celsius. In a certain experiment, 2 times 10 raised to negative 2 mole of nitric oxide, 8.3 times 10 raised to negative 3 moles of chlorine and 6.8 moles of nitrosyl chloride are mixed in 2-liter flask. In which direction will the system proceed to reach the equilibrium? Okay? So, nakita nyo naman yung question. It asks for direction. Pag nagtanong ng direksyon, ang kailangan mo yung Q. Okay? So you need Q in order for you to get the direction of the reaction. So first thing na gagawin niya, okay, of course, to write the Q expression. Okay, parang K lang din yan. Lalagyan mo lang ng letter I. Okay? So that will be the concentration of nitrosyl chloride squared divided by the concentration of nitric oxide square and the concentration of chlorine gas. Square, 1. Okay. Now, tell me, since these are concentrations, how will I solve for the concentration? Okay. Paano ko makukuha yung concentration nila? Okay? Tell me in the chat box, paano makukuha ang concentration ng NOCl, NOCl2? Paano ko siya makukuha? Mole per liter. So, divide the mole by the liter. Okay? So, itong ganito, inuulit-ulit ko siya. Bakit? Kasi ganito din sa quiz. Okay? Gusto ko pag nakita nyo yung problem, marinig nyo ako na sinasabi ano yung gagawin, ano yung kukunin, ganun. Okay? Baka mamaya hanggang panaginip nyo, no? Ganun yung ano. Narinig nyo ako nagtuturo. Ganun. Okay? So, kailangan isang tingin nyo pa lang sa quiz, pati sa exam. Alam nyo na gagawin nyo. Okay? Given yung mole, given yung volume, ano gagawin ko? Divide mo na lang sila. Okay? So, ganun, ha? Okay? Kasi sa chemistry, may mga muscle memory din eh. Okay? Rin ako, pag nakita ko yung problem, diretso agad ako sa units. Kasi baka sa units, alam ko yung gagawin ko kapag alam ko yung units. Okay, anyway. Let's write the concentration of those chemical species, na? So, okay. Iba yung color ng aking ballpen. Anyway. NOCl, this is the amount, 6.8, and the volume, 2 liters. Hindi ko na nilalagay yung unit, ha, because you know that K and Q doesn't have any units at all. Don't forget, it's squared. Okay? So, i-remind ko rin yung sarili ko na squared yan. And then for the NO, ganun din. Okay. So, saan yung NO? Ito. 2 times 10, negative 2. Then 2 liters. Naka-square? Okay, naka-square. And then, for the Cl2, ganun pa rin. Okay, so 8.3 times 10 raised to negative 2. Sorry, negative 3 pala. 8.3, negative 3, divided by 2.0. And that is just raised to 1. Okay. Okay, so let's solve for the Q. Kung maunahan nyo ako, let me know na lang sa chat box. Okay. NOCl, 6.8. 6.8 daw yung moles niya eh. .8 divide by 2. Medyo nakakaduling lang talaga yung numbers, to be honest. Diba? Papansin nyo naman eh. Parang ang dami-daming numbers. Kaya ako ginagawa ko, ito yung turo sa amin ng top-notcher na prof namin dati. Sabi niya, pag nag-e-exam ka, face-to-face pa kasi nun, bilugan mo yung mga given para hindi ka malito. Kami, ginawa namin, binilugan namin, din naman namin nasagutan. At least may bilog, sabi niya eh. Bilugan lang daw, di naman necessary sagutan ng tama. Pero magaling yan. Bait-bait nun sa amin eh. Okay? So yan ha. Medyo confusing lang yung numbers kasi tabi-tabi sila. Okay? Ako rin nalilito minsan, to be honest. Okay? So, ano na gagawin natin? Pindot na. Plug in na. Okay? So, kung maunahan nyo ako, sige, mag-chat na kayo sa chat box. Kasi ako dadaldal pa habang nagtatype. So, in the numerator, you have 6.8. Okay, divided by 2. And close parenthesis, it is squared. Okay. Okay, so squared. And then sa denominator, I have 2 times 10, negative 2, divided by 2. And then, sorry, naka-square pa siya. Baka mamaya makalimutan ko. Okay. And then 8.3 times 10 raised to negative 3, 2.0. Ayan. Let me just confirm again yung tinype ko. 6.8 divided by 2, then naka-square. Correct. And then sa baba, I have 2 times 10 raised to negative 2 divided by 2. Correct. Naka-square. 8.3 times 10 negative 3 divided by 2. Okay. So yan. So what's the answer? Ayan, laki. Laki ng value na. So, tignan natin ha. Let me just move the decimal point. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. So it is 2.8 times 10 raised to 7. And round off ko na ha. Sir, tama ba yan? Okay lang. By the way, kapag equilibrium problem, kailangan medyo masanay kayo sa super laking numbers or super liit na numbers. Huwag kayong magugulat. Kasi ganun talaga sila. Kasi dati mga numbers natin, mga maliliit lang. Ngayon, kahit malaki or super liit, pwede. Kailangan confident lang kayo. Okay? Okay, so that's the value of our Q. Tapos ano gagawin niya? The next one is to write a number line. In the middle, you have your KC. This is your K. And this is what you want, di ba? The value of K is 6.5 times 10 raised to 4. Kaya okay lang na raised to 7 yun. Kasi ito nga, raised to 4 eh. Diba? Okay lang yun. Huwag kayo matakot. Okay, so that's K. And the Q is, saan siya? To the left, to the right. Okay? Nasa right side, okay? To the left, to the right, to the right. Bago ako matulog kagabi, nanonood ako ng TikTok na yun eh. Na-stress lang ako. Okay, so your Q is on the right. It's 2.8 times 10 raised to 7. Okay? The smaller numbers on the left, bigger numbers on the right. Always put your K in the middle. Okay, using this our visual graphic. Okay, so Q wants to go to K. So ibig sabihin, it needs to go to the left side. What does it mean? The reaction will proceed to Okay, the reaction will proceed to which side? The reactant or the product side? Yes, okay, correct. Ayan, so good. Dapat confident lang kayo na basta nakita nyo to the left, reactant yon. Kapag to the right, the product. Okay? So the reaction is going to the left. Yung Q papunta siya sa left. So ibig sabihin, it will proceed to the reactant side. No? Let's explain why. Bakit to the reactant side? Kasi look naman at the concentration of NOCl. Ang dami, oh. 6.8. Then look at the amount of NO and the Cl2. Ang liliit, di ba? Negative exponent na nga. Ibig sabihin, super daming products, only yung reactants. So, for the system to achieve equilibrium, some of this needs to be converted into the reactants. So, mangyari, mababawasan yung NOCl, madadagdagan ang NO, pati yung Cl2. Okay? So, yun yung interpretation natin dyan. Mababawasan to over time, ito madadagdagan, until they reach equilibrium, until ma-reach niya yung K value. And now, papunta na tayo sa pinaka-puso ng analytical chem. Okay? Kasi itong mga ginagawa natin, introduction pa lang to. Wala pa tayo sa mismong topic. Na? So now let's go into the main idea sa chemistry. Okay? Equilibrium pa rin. But this time, di ba sabi ko, ito sabi ko kanina, verbatim to, na mababawasan yung NOCl, tas madadagdagan to until they reach equilibrium. Ganun din sa problem earlier, right? Ito naman baliktad. Yung reactants mababawasan, yung product madadagdagan. So, ibig sabihin, pag na-reach na yung equilibrium, iba na yung concentrations nilang lahat, right? Kasi may mababawasan, may madadagdagan. The biggest question in chemistry is, paano mo malalaman yung dami ng products or dami ng reactants once the equilibrium is established? Paano yung sinusolve yun? Kung galing kayo sa STEM branch, okay, kung taga-STEM kayo, alam nyo na yung sagot dyan. Ice table. Kung hindi kayo sa STEM galing, okay lang. Madali lang to. Okay? And hopefully by the end of the class, kaya nyo na maggawa ng ice table. What's the purpose of this ice table? The ice table will help us track the changes in the concentration. Dito natin makikita yung sinasabi ko na mababawasan to, madadagdagan to. By how much, isosolve natin. Okay? So, ganun. So, for example, ang mababawasan to, gano'ng karami? I don't know. Pero kaya isolve. Madadagdagan to, gano'ng karami? I don't know. Pero kaya isolve. Okay? Same as this one. So, yun kasi yung pinaka-goal ni Anachem, no? To quantify the substances at equilibrium. Okay? Kaya ito yung pinaka-heart ng analytical chem, which will also be discussed in your laboratory. Okay? Chapter 4. Okay. So, yun. Yun na yung equilibrium calculation. Okay? So, ano ba meaning ng ice? No? By the way, siguro yung iba familiar sa rice. Then yung iba familiar lang sa ice. No? Yung R dun sa rice ay reaction. Okay? However, ako ice na lang nilalagay ko. Okay? So, yung mga yan, may mga meaning yan, which I will explain earlier. And again, this helps us track the changes in the concentration. Okay? Ayan ang ginagamit in tracking changes in concentration. So, yun yung pinaka-goal niya. So that we can know how much will be the concentration of your substances at equilibrium. Let me demonstrate to you how to use ice table. Let's read the problem. Isomers of stilbene have an equilibrium constant Kc equals 24 at 200 degrees Celsius. Suppose initially there are 0.85 molar cis isomer. Calculate the equilibrium concentration of all the substances. Baka isipin nyo, ay sir, di ba madali lang yan, ginawa natin last time. Baka isipin nyo ganito, yung trans sa taas, yung cis sa baba, so itong 0.85, ito yon, tapos ito 24, then solve for this na lang. Hindi, mali yun. Bakit? Tignan nyo yung keywords. Initially, tapos equilibrium. Magkaibang bagay yon. Okay? So magkaibang bagay yung initial concentration sa equilibrium concentration. Okay? You have to be very careful. Baka kasi gawin nyo yung ginagawa natin last time. Hindi sila gagana. Okay? So, kapag ganito yung problem nyo, binigay yung initial amount, hinahanap yung equilibrium, you need to use ice table. So, what is ice table? Okay? So, ice stands for initial. C is the change. And the E is the equilibrium. Okay? The reason but may R yan is kasi usually we write the equation on top of the ice table. Okay? So, let me write the equation here. So, ito yung cis. Ito yung trans. And now, again, I said magkaiba yung initial sa equilibrium, ha? Magkaibang bagay yan. Sabi dito, initially there is 0.85 molar cis isomer. So I will write it here. Tapos yun na, calculate na agad. Saan na gagawin mo? Ganito. Rule of thumb. Kapag walang sinabi na concentration, 0 agad yon. Okay? So nakita mo ba sa problem na may sinabi about trans isomer? Sinabi ba yung amount niya? Hindi. So ibig sabihin, 0 yung amount niya. Okay? So ganun gagawin nyo sa mga future problem. Pag hindi sinabi yung amount ng isang chemicals, 0 agad yon. Okay? Pero yung kung sinabi, edi sulat mo yung sinabi. Okay? And now, let's proceed with the change. Paano mo malalaman yung change? Okay? Positive ba siya o negative? So, anong ginamit ko para malaman ko kung madadagdagan, mababawasan? Yung reaction quotient. So, you have to know where the direction of the reaction is so that you will know anong side yung positive, anong side yung negative. Okay? Meron kasing positive sa product, minsan negative sa product. Okay? So we need to use the reaction quotient. And by the way, hindi na namin kayo pahihirapan. Nakaisipin nyo kasi, dami namang isusolve. Hindi. Ito, general rule sa ice table. Kapag may side na 0, dun pupunta yung reaction. What do I mean by that? Look at the table, the initial row. Okay? Sino yung may 0? Yung product. Kasi kung kukunin mo yung reaction quotient niyan, product over reactant. So that will be 0 over 0.85. 0 yan. So your Q will be here, your K will be there. So the direction is to the right. So para hindi ka na ma-hassle sa pag-solve, ako na magsasabi that kung saan may 0, dun pupunta yung reaction. Okay? So instead of solving for the Q, I can just simply forget about it. not really forget about it. Ano lang. Basta matic na siya sa isip nyo. Kung saan yung 0, dun pupunta yung reaction. So what does it mean? No? So the reaction will be going to the trans still bin. Ngayon, ano mangyayari kay cis? Madadagdagan or mababawasan? What do you think will happen to the cis concentration? Will it increase? Will it decrease? Knowing that the reaction is going to the right. What's your idea? Okay. So it will decrease. Tama. Mababawasan siya, syempre, to the right nga eh. Diba? So, sabihin, mababawasan siya and magiging trans siya. So, negative yung change dito, positive yung change dyan. By how much yung change? Ang sagot, I don't know. Okay? So, if you don't know how much will change, you can assume a variable. And that variable is yung pinakamahal nating letter sa algebra, x. So, sana ngayon pa lang na-imagine nyo yung mga mangyayari. Mag-algebra talaga tayo. Okay? So, yan. Kaya sabi ko earlier, you need to prepare your heart. Kasi marami tayong gagawin. Okay? But I hope you are catching up, ha? Just let me know if you have clarification so that we can address it. Okay? So again, for the change, cis will be negative x. Kasi mababawasan siya. And kung ano man yung nabawas kay cis, mapupunta siya kay trans. Okay? Kung anong x na nabawas kay cis, mapupunta siya kay trans. Gets? Bakit ulit papunta sa right side? Kasi 0 yung product. As a general rule, kung sinong side ng reaction yung may 0 concentration, dun papunta yung reaction. Okay. How about the equilibrium row? Okay, so we're done with initial. Kung ano yung binanggit, yun lang yung may number. Pag walang binanggit, 0. For the change, you have to determine the reaction quotient, and by general rule, kung saan may 0, dun yung positive. Kung ibig sabihin, kung positive dun sa side ng product, edi negative sa reactant. Now, how about the equilibrium? So in the equilibrium row, you have to account for the change. No? You have to apply the change sa initial. Basically, pagsamahin mo lang sila. Okay? So that will be 0.85 minus x. And this will be x. These are now the equilibrium concentrations. Pwede ba yun, sir? May expression? Yes. No? Yun nga yung pinaka-point ng Anachem. Mag-algebra. Okay? So that is our equilibrium concentration for the cis and the trans. And now, nasolve na natin yung equilibrium concentration o 0.85 minus x, tas x sa trans. Is it okay? No. Kasi dapat yung x, maging value yan. Okay? So, paano mo kukunin yung value ng x? From your constant. From your equilibrium constant. Dito mo makukuha yung value ng x. Okay? So, ganun gagawin nyo ha. You write the ice table, and then once you have the equilibrium constant, once you have the equilibrium expressions, plug them into your equilibrium constant. So for the reaction here, the equilibrium constant Kc is of course product over reactant. Okay, so that will be trans over cis. No? So product over reactant. Okay, lalagyan ko siya ng EQ para alam nyo na equilibrium. I'm pertaining to this. Okay? Lalagyan ko yun ng EQ para alam nyo na yun yung tinutukoy ko. And then what do you think will happen next? I will plug in the value of Kc, which is 24. And what's the equilibrium expression for the trans? It's just x. For the cis, it is just 0.85 minus x. And then you have an equation, solve for x. Okay, so I will just simply cross multiply this to the other side, giving me 24 times 0.85 minus x. And then on the other side, I have x. What's 24,085? Multiply ko lang ha. Okay. So 24 times 0.85 is 20.4. 20.4 daw. Okay, and then 24 times negative x is, of course, negative 24x. And then you need to transpose 24 to the other side. So that will give you 20.4. Sorry, dito na lang sa kabila. Okay, so transpose ko itong negative 24x sa kabila. So it will become positive. So 24x plus x, di 24 plus 1 lang yan. Okay, it will be 25x. Divide both sides by 25. And then you will get x is equal to 0.816. And remember, this is concentration. So you write 816 molar. Okay, ayan, nasolve na natin yung x. Are we done? Hindi pa. Bakit kaya hindi pa tayo tapos? Sige, kayo naman magsabi sa akin. Why do you think I said na hindi pa tayo tapos? Nasolve na natin yung x. What now? Ba't hindi pa rin tapos? Kasi? Ano sa tingin niyo yung sagot? Yan, you need to plug in the value of x. Now, you are not done unless you are able to plug in your x value. Okay? So, kailangan i-plug in mo yung x value. Okay? So, meaning, the final answer should be written this way. Okay? So, at equilibrium, ganito yung gagawin niya. Okay? So, for the concentration of cis, okay, so that will be 0.85 minus x. That's 0.816. Sorry. 0.85 minus x. 0.816 yan, di ba? 85 minus 816. Okay, 0.34. And then for the trans, it is just the x. Okay? Ayun, nakita niya ba kung ano nangyari? So for the trans, it's just 0.816 kasi x lang yun eh. So basically, whatever this is, yun na yun. But for the cis, I have to calculate it further kasi 0.85 minus x. So I need to deduct 816 sa 85. Okay? So it gave me 0.034 molar. So that's how you should write the final answer. Okay? You must plug in the value of x into your equilibrium expressions. Mukhang madali lang, na? Yes, madali lang siya. Except kung hindi talaga siya madali. Okay. Don't worry, sa laboratory na yon, yung medyo matindi. Okay? For the lecture, basic lang. Kasi again, just as I said, this is the heart of analytical chem. Okay? Yung equilibrium topic. So I want you to master this so that madali nyo na masusundan yung future kaganapan. Okay. Before we proceed with the next item, pag may question kayo, sabihin nyo sa chat box, ha? Okay. But before you proceed with the next item, may reminder lang ako. What if meron tayong coefficient? Let's say, kunwari, 3 yung cis, tapos 2 ito. What if may coefficient? If you have a coefficient, that must be reflected sa change. So that means, kung 3 yung coefficient ng cis mo, so your change must be negative 3x. While, kunwari, ito, 2 yung kanyang coefficient, so it will be positive 2x. So it will get reflected until sa equilibrium expression. Okay? So kapag may coefficient, it will get reflected to the change and the equilibrium. Kunwari, this is 5, edi magre-reflect yun. Okay? And this is 4. Edi ganun, magre-reflect din. Okay? Tandaan nyo yan. Kasi may ganun yung next item. Okay? So, lucky for us, yung kanyang coefficient, 1 and 1 lang. Okay? So, wala naman tayo masyadong problem. Now, this is what I want you to do. I want you to write the ice table for the next problem. Okay? So, kung gusto niya mag-screenshot, sige, screenshot na kaya. Basta tandaan, coefficient, it must be reflected in the change and in the equilibrium. Okay, so I think nakapag-screenshot na. Try this one. I want you to write the ice table lang. Okay? Huwag kayong mag-calculation na. Ice table lang muna. Yung calculation nito medyo matindi. I want you to write the ice table. By the way, kung isa kayo sa mga students ko dati nanood noong Christmas break ng old classes ko. Meron kasi akong students na nagtanong ano daw yung dati kong playlist sa Anakem. So, sinend ko. Ito rin yung mga question doon. So, kung nag-study in advance kayo dati, ayan, alam nyo na yung mga sagot sa ganito. Sagutan nyo muna. At ako ay kukuha lang ng water. Just write whatever you think should be in the ice table. And then, let's validate if tama yon later. And again, do not forget what I said. Kung nasan yung 0, dun papunta yung reaction. And at the same time, kapag may coefficient, it must be reflected sa change. So, sige, gawa muna kayo. I'll give you a few minutes na. I'll just get some water. And then, kayo rin, kung gusto niyo kumuha ng water, go. And then, let's go back. Okay, mga few minutes lang, 2 minutes. Then, tignan ko kung tama yung mga nasagutan niya. Okay? So, wait lang muna. Okay. Sorry. Okay. So, sino yung tapos na? Can you press like button? Okay. Press kayo ng like button para makita ko if okay na kayo. Like that. Okay. So, si Mark tapos na. Yung iba di ko makita kasi limited lang yun nasa screen ko eh. Okay. So, anyway. So, let me show you how you should write the ice table. Okay? Be careful. Bakit? Kasi, look, moles yung given. Yung nakalagay dapat sa ice table ay concentration. Okay? Concentration dapat. Pero buti na lang, yung volume ng solution natin, 1 liter lang. Okay? So, still, molarity na yan. Okay? Pero just again, be careful lang, ha? Okay. So for the initial concentration of hydrogen gas, it's 0.075. Sorry, mali. 0.750 divided by 1. So that's mole divided by the volume. Okay? So again, it's still 0.750 lang naman. But do not forget, what if iba yung value niyan? So may iba yung sagot mo, ha? So be careful lang. The concentrations must always be in molarity. That's for the H2, and then the I2 still the same, 0.750. For the HI, walang sinabi. Okay, so H2, I2, yun lang. So meaning, kapag walang sinabi, 0. Okay? And then what's next? What's next is the change, no? And gaya nga na sinabi ko, yung shortcut ko dito is where the 0 is, doon pupunta yung reaction. So where is the 0? At the product, right? We don't have any product initially. So ibig sabihin, ito yung magdadagdagan. So this will be positive, and then itong dalawang reactant, it will be negative. How much will change? I don't know. So just write X. However, this one, kailangan 2X. Sino yung naglagay ng 2X? Press nyo yung like button kung nalagay nyo. Ayan, so nalagay ni Kenneth. Good, that's good. Si Adrian then. Okay, so ganun. So do not forget yung 2. Okay, sabi ko nga kanina, yung coefficient, it must be reflected in your change. And tama naman kayo ng sign siguro, no? So negative sa reactant, positive sa product. Kasi you don't have any product, so siya yung madadagdagan. Okay? And then for the equilibrium, ipag-add mo lang yung I pati C. Okay? So 0.75 minus X. This will be 2X. Okay, and now we can proceed to the equilibrium calculation. We should not be satisfied with yung mga XX na yan. Hindi yan yung gusto nating sagot. Okay, so we need the actual value for the concentration. So that's why we need to plug in the equilibrium expressions in the Kc equation. Everyone knows how to write the Kc. Okay, so by this time, kailangan alam na. So that's products over reactants. So that's the concentration of HI squared. And then for the reactants, you have your H2 times I2. Okay, ayan. And then you need to plug in everything. Okay, so Kc is, lipat ko lang to onti dito. Medyo mahaba yung magiging solution later. By the way, tanggapin nyo na ha, na may algebra talaga tayo sa life. Okay? Madali lang kasi ituturo ko yung mga shortcut. Pero of course, ipapakita ko yung mga long method na. Except for the quadratic, shortcut talaga natin yun. Kasi nakakatamad. Okay? Sorry, it's H2 pala. And then plug in everything you know. So Kc is given. That's 54.3. That's 54.3 equal. Okay, so for the Hi, that's 2x. And then siya ay naka-square. For the H2, 0.75 minus x. For the I2, still the same. Okay. So, ganun lang. Tapos, ano gagawin nyo dito? What do you call this? These are binomials. Okay? Hello high school algebra. Ayan, sasabi niya, hi, binomial. Ano ginagawa sa binomial? May tawag tayo dun eh. Starts with letter F. How do we expand the binomial? And the product of binomial? Magpo-FOIL method tayo. Okay, so first, outer, inner, and then last. Magpo-FOIL method tayo. FOIL na method natin yan. Medyo ano na. Iisip nyo, chem pa ba to? Chem pa rin yan. Medyo wala lang talaga tayong choice. By the way, itong 2x naka-square yan, so it will become 4x square. Bakit sir naging 4x square? Kasi yung 2x, they are both raised to 2. Ibig sabihin 2 raised to 2, x raised to 2. And 2 raised to 2 is 4, right? So it is can be written as 4x square. Now, let's do the FOIL method. I'll use a different color. Okay, so first, okay, F first. So that's 0.75 times 0.75. Okay, so 0.75, 0.75, 5625. Okay, so 0.5625. Okay. Then outer. Okay, so yun yung first. Outer naman tayo. So this is that times that. Okay, so 0.75 times negative x. 0.75x negative. And then ano susunod? Inner. So negative x times 0.75. So that's another 0.75x negative. And then yung last, ito na yan. Yun. So x times x. Negative x times negative x. So that will become positive x square. Itong 0.75x na parehas, pagsasamahin ko na ha. Negative 0.75x minus 0.75x. Ano sagot? Negative 0.75 minus 0.75. So 1.5. Negative 1.5. Pagsasamahin ko na ha. Okay, ayan. So negative 1.5x plus x square. Okay, saan ang galing to? FOIL method lang yan. FOIL lang. Pasensya na, maraming algebra. Meron kakayanin natin yan. Next, you cross multiply it to the other side, na? Since I don't have enough space, I will put this on the left and this one on the right. So pag-switching ko lang sila ng position. So I don't have enough space here sa left side. So that's 4x squared, and that will be on the right side. I have 54.3 times 0.5625 minus 1.5x plus x squared. Okay, and then what we will do, okay, so apply the distributive property. Okay, let's distribute 54.3. Okay, ay donate natin. Yan, donate. and distribute. Okay? Hopefully nasusundan niya ha. Okay. Pag hindi nasusundan, let me know lang. Okay, so that I can clarify. Or if may nasulat akong mali, let me know. So this is 4x squared. And then yung first product natin, 54.3 times 0.5625. Okay, 54.3, 0.5625. Kopyahin mo lahat yan. Daming numbers. O, 30.54375. 30.54375. Huwag kayo ma-intimidate ha. Ganito talaga siya. Okay, and then 54.3, sorry. Times 1.5. Nasagot. 81.45. Pero negative, no? And then plus 54.3 x squared. Malapit na tayo. Sakit na ng aking balikat. Malapit na. Gagawin, next. Yung 4x squared, lipat mo doon. Pagsamahin mo na sila. Okay? Lipat mo na siya doon sa other side ulit. So that will become 0 equals 54.3 x squared minus 4x squared. Bakit naging minus? Kasi when you transpose this to the other side, okay, it will become negative. No? Ano lang naman yan eh, plus minus lang. No? Okay. And then, lakihan ko lang yung space dito. Okay, and then I will just copy everything. No? So, negative 81.45x. Okay, and then 54.3 minus 4. So, basically, that's 50.3, 81.45. 35.437.5. Ay, nakakapagod. Nakakaumay na. Now, malapit na tayo matapos. So, I want you to always arrange the equation wherein the highest exponent will go first and then the lowest exponent will go last. Okay? So, I want you to pattern your solutions always to this, no? So, ganyan, no? So, ax squared bx plus c equals 0. So, highest exponent pababa, no? Kasi yun yung proper way of writing equations. Now, your a is the coefficient of x, right? So, meaning ito yung coefficient ni x square, sorry, x square. So, this is your a value. Your b is the coefficient of x. Kasama yung negative sign kung meron. Okay? So, that's the value of b. And then your c is everything here. Kaya yun nasa dulo. Okay? So, yun yung purpose ng a, b, and c. Why do we need to identify a, b, and c? Because in the quadratic equation, that's x is equals to negative b plus minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. O yung a, b, and c dyan, yun, no? Iba-plug in mo lang. Pero hindi ko na kayo tuturuan ng quadratic. Bakit? Kasi may shortcut akong ituturo. Okay? Ready na ba sa shortcut? Sino yung nakakopya na ng ABC? Like nyo na lang yung button. Press like button na lang kung nakopya na yung ABC. Kaya screenshot nyo na lang. Okay. So, may mga ready na. Turuan ko kayo ng shortcut. Sabi nga ni Bill Gates, hindi ko alam kung totoo niyan sinabi yan. Pero mas okay yung tamad kaysa sa masipag. Kasi kapag tamad, may paraan. Pero ako kaya, asan yung mouse? Wala na naman yung mouse. Ayun. Okay. Using your calculator, sabayan niyo ako. Press mode. Itong mode. Same with class Wiz. Okay. Pag pinindot niyo yung mode, you are given several options. Since we are dealing with equations, okay, di ba sa lab nyo, statistics. Ngayon, equation. So, let's press 5 for the equation. Let's press 5. Okay, and then you are given several options. Anong gagamitin ko dyan, sir? Ito yung may x square. So, number 3 yon kasi yun yung may x square. Okay? So, you press 3 and yun yung may x square. Okay? So, A, B, C. Ayun yun. A, B, C. Ax square, bx, c. So, you press 3. Sino sa inyo yung nakikita na to? Press like button na lang. Nakita nyo na to sa calc niya? Okay. For those using ClassWiz, let me just stop the sharing. Papakita ko yung calc. Sa ClassWiz kasi medyo iba. Okay. So, malaki na uli mukha ko sa screen. So, this is a ClassWiz. So, 991EX. So, di ba, you need to press, wala siyang mode eh. So, you need to press menu. Okay, menu. And then, marami dyong nakalagay, no? You need to scroll down. So, press this down button twice. And then, may makikita kayong xy equals 0. Ayun yung equation. Okay, equation function. Yung letter A. To select it, you need to press the equal sign. Okay, so press equal sign. And then, ano yung tanong dyan? Ito. You have two options. Either you do simultaneous equation or you solve for the polynomial. So, this is a polynomial. So, we choose polynomial, number 2. Press 2 for polynomial. Tapos may question ulit dito. Polynomial degree. May degree ba? Okay, syempre may degree, hindi yan fake, no? So, anong degree natin dito? X square. So, the degree is 2. Okay? So, you press 2. Kung ano yung highest exponent, yun yung degree. Tandaan nyo. So, kung x cube yan, edi degree 3. Kapag x square, edi degree 2. Okay? So, in our case, degree 2. And you will be given the similar screen as I shown you earlier. Andito yung A, andito yung B, andito yung C. Okay? So, ganun lang. So, medyo iba lang yung step initially sa ClassWiz, pero after that, you will see the same. Ito, makikita mo rin yan. And now, sino yung okay na? Ready na mag-type? Like button nyo na lang. Or sino yung nakapag-type na? Okay. So now, let's type in the values for A, the B, and the C. For A, that's 50.3. So you just type 50.3. And then press equal sign. So meaning yan, na-lock mo na yung number for letter A. So that's 50.3 already. For letter B, that's negative 81.45. So you type in negative 81.45. Press enter. Equal sign. Sa computer kasi ako. And so press equal sign, then your B is already encoded. So negative 81.45. And then for the letter C, ayun yung mahaba. So just type everything. So 30.54375, press equal sign. And then confirm if tama yung values mo. So A, 50.3, B, negative 81.45. Again, you have to include the negative sign. Okay? And then for C, that's 30.54375. What's next? Diba, kapag nagko-quadratic equation kayo, you have to type in the B square, the A times C, the A, diba ganun? Did you know, pag na-type mo na sa Calcu yung ABC, all you need to do is to press enter. And that will give you the roots, no? This is the first root. This is the second root. So, you don't need to plug it in the equation. You just press, okay, just press equal sign. Yan yung first root, second root. Ayan, ano yan? ML lang yan. Wala lang yan. Okay? Ganun. So, hindi ko na ituturo sa inyo yung pag-plug in sa, sa ganito. Kasi yun yung reason why I required you to have similar calculator. Whether that's physical calculator or digital, no? Para alam natin yung mga pipindutan. Diba? So, convenient siya. Kasi if magkaiba tayo ng Calcu, you have to do that. Mapapahirapan mo pa sarili mo. Okay, so how many roots, okay, ang meron sa isang equation? Basically, kung ano yung exponent, yun yung root, no? So we have x squared, and the graph of a square looks like this. So you can see it passes twice on the x-axis, so you have two roots, x1, x2. If you have an equation for x cubed, it will pass the x-axis thrice, no? So kaya tatlo yung root. Okay, so basically kung ilan yung exponent, ganun karami yung roots. Ano yung exponent natin? 2. So ibig sabihin, dalawa yung root. Isa we're in positive to, isa we're in negative yan. So let's copy the roots, no? So for the first root, it's 10294. 1.0294. And then for the second root, that's 5899. 5899. Okay? Sino yung nakuha yung dalawang roots? Press like. Para alam ko kung nasasabayan. Okay? Okay, so good. Namin nakakasabay. So, you have the roots already. Okay? Ngayon, ano yung gagamitin ko dyan? Kasi remember, isa lang dapat yung x value. Okay? Ano yung gagamitin ko? Parehas. Hindi pwede. I-average ko ba yan? Walang ganon. You only need to choose one x value. Most of the time, yung x natin, either positive and negative yung value niya. Okay? Pag ganon, kunwari may nakita kayong negative na root, hindi mo pipiliin yon. Bakit? Kasi there is no negative concentration. Tandaan nyo yan. These are concentration. So meaning it cannot be negative, nor it cannot be imaginary. Okay? Baka makakita kayo ng may imaginary number. Walang ganon. There's no imaginary concentration. So again, whenever you see a root that is negative, you don't you eliminate it from your options. Don't choose it. So meaning positive yung pipiliin mo. Pero in our case, parehas silang positive. Paano yun, sir? Di parehas sila sa tatanggapin ko? No. Okay. So ganito, when you have two positive roots, such as in this example, you need to look into your equation. Try plugging in x1 and x2. Kapag negative yung nakuha mong concentration, that's wrong. Okay? Kasi again, just as I said earlier, there is no negative concentration. Okay? Always positive yung concentration. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, anong may eliminate ko dito? Is it the x1 or the x2? What do you think should I eliminate? Anyone? If I plug in my x1 or x2 in one of this equation, may magne-negative dyan. Ano yung i-eliminate ko? Is it x1, x2? So I need opinions about this. Sige. Sabi ni Mark, x2. About the others. Which of them should I eliminate? X2 then? Oh, one last answer siguro. Let's see. Pag plinag in ko yung x1, x2 sa dalawang to, may magne-negative dyan. Yun. Ayan, hinihintay ko yung realization. Okay, so yan, good. Nakita niyo yung point ko. Okay, so the answer is that x1 must be eliminated, no? So x siya. Bakit siya eliminated, no? Eliminated. Okay, nakick na siya sa bahay ni Kuya. So meaning pipiliin natin x2. Bakit? Kasi when you try to plug in the x1 into your ice table, magiging negative yung concentration, di ba? That's 0.75 eh. Lang urong natin. So that's 0.75. By the way, kung gusto nyo bumalik yung calculator nyo sa original, ang gagawin nyo, kung gusto nyo bumalik to sa original, press shift, clear, then 3. Okay? Shift, clear 3, and then equal sign. Ayan, back to normal na ulit siya. Tignan nyo, 0.75 minus 10294. It will be negative, no? So there's no negative concentration. So we need to double check pa rin. Okay? So hindi porket may dalawang positive ka, parehas matatanggapin. Only one of them will be correct. Okay? So I will choose 0.5899 kasi if I subtract it sa 0.75, positive yung kanyang concentration, which is good. Okay? So meaning, at equilibrium, so hindi pa yan yung final answer. Ito yung final answer. At equilibrium, the concentration of H2 and HI, I2 is equal to 0.75 minus 0.5899, which is equals to 0.1601 molar. So yun yung concentration nila after equilibrium. 0.1601. And then the concentration of HI is equal to 2 times your 0.5899. Times 2 mo lang yung 0.5899. 1198. Okay, pasensya na, medyo maliit na yung sulat ko kasi maliit lang yung PowerPoint screen. Okay, but that's how you get the equilibrium concentrations. Okay, so ganun. Ay, ano ba calculate mo, Kenneth? Ano ka ba? Class Swiss? Ay, sorry. Sharp? Casio? Anong model? Casio... Ay, by the way, nakalimutan ko i-share sa class. May software, may mobile app na yung Casio calculator. Nakita ko siya sa Facebook. FXE 81, 82. Oo nga. Ano yan? Magka-quadratic equation ka talaga dyan. So, ayan. One-liner yan, di ba? Okay. So, ayan. You need to plug it, this way. Gaganito mo siya. Pero siguro I'll get back to you, Kenneth, na lang na. Aralin ko yung 82. I think meron ata ako dito sa taas. Pero tignan ko kung nandito. Okay. Siguro for now, download ka muna ng app. Okay. I think merong mobile app na yung Casio Calculator. Hanapin ko, nasa Facebook yun and then ipopost ko na lang sa Canvas. Okay. So, kasi alam ko yung FX82. Yes. Ito siya. Alam ko walang equation to eh. Ano yung option mo kapag class with calc? Sige, try ko. Class with calc. Ito, merong sa Google Play. Ito sa Apple App Store. Ayan, try nyo to. For Android people, type nyo FX991EX Original Calculator. 3-star nga lang. Kasi maraming advertisement. Pag maraming advertisement, edi patayin mo yung advertisement. Patayin mo internet para siya. Okay. Mag-download ka na lang muna nito sa cellphone. Okay, ayan. 991EX kapag Android. Pero kung ikaw ay ay hindi ito. Alam ko may bayad to eh. Hanapin ko na lang nasa Facebook yun sinave ko yun. Send ko na lang sa inyo. Okay? Medyo limited yung calculator. 991EX. May mobile app ka na, Josephine? Share mo na lang din siguro yung app. Ayun. Share mo na lang yung name niya para madali mag-google. Ako kasi never ko pa na-try. Sabi ko, isa-save ko siya pero nakakalimutan ko. Sige, search nyo na lang yan. Then, okay. Limited lang kasing 82ES. Okay. So, basically, that's the concept. No? That's the idea about sige, try ko nga Play App Store. Okay. Pero anyway, basically that's the concept of equilibrium system, no? So bale, ang gagawin niyo na lang ay maggawa ng ice table. Ito ba 'yun? Ito ba 'yan? Josephine. Ito ba 'yan? Ayun, ito pala. Ito, for those using iPhone, iPad, ayan. So use this one. Galing. 4.9 review, so ito nga yun. Try ko nga rin ito. Okay. Sige, download ka mamaya. Okay, so for those without a physical calculator or hindi accessible yung laptop always, you can use this app na. Okay lang naman sa akin na mag-open kayo ng apps. Tiwala naman ako sa inyo. Okay. So anyway, basically that's the idea for in solving equilibrium problems, no? So in the worksheet, I actually entered a lot of questions wherein you can try them. Okay? So try nyo na lang yan. So these questions are different than what we answered. Okay? Yun. So ilang equilibrium calculation? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 4A, 4B. So 4A, 4B pa. Okay? So yun. So I want you to try it on your own na lang. Okay? Because of our time constraints. Okay? Pero basically, ganun lang mag-solve ng equilibrium problems. No? You create an ice table, you set values, kapag hindi sinabi, 0. And then for the change, basically kung nasan yung 0 na amounts, dun pupunta yung reaction. If you have coefficients, you have to account for it. Okay? And then for the equilibrium, you just add them up. Once you have the equilibrium, you plug it into your K expression. And then once you plug it into your K expression, you have to do the appropriate algebraic techniques. No? So gamit ka FOIL method, cross multiply, factor out, etc. So lahat ng yan gagawin mo until you end up with a quadratic equation. And then once you have a quadratic equation, you need to solve for the roots. No? Okay, use your calculator na lang. I won't teach this long method na kasi pag nag-quiz kayo, sayang yung oras eh. So, okay lang kung gumamit kayo ng cellphone na may calculator. Yun yung sinabi sa atin ni Josephine. Ito, download nyo na lang yan. Okay? And then, if you have two roots, yung isa positive, isa negative, yung negative, wag mo na i-consider. But if they are both positive, just as in our problem, you only choose the one that will give you positive equilibrium concentration when you subtract it from your original concentrations. Okay? Ito nasa lab to. Chapter 4 to. Nakalimutan ko burahin. So, sa lab pa yan. So, skip natin. Okay. Now, we are at the last part of the session. Okay. May questions dito sa part na to na i-upload ko na lang sa Canvas kasi medyo limited na yung ating time. Still have 12 minutes. So, basically, what's this na? The idea about this, okay, iba-iba yung pronunciation nila, pero we're not French naman, so hindi ko napilitan yung French pronunciation. Okay, so this is Le Chatelier principle. Le Chatelier, ewan ko. Basta yun, Le Chatelier. So the Le Chatelier principle states that in equilibrium system, minsan na-stress sila. Okay, just like us, no? Right now, stress na tayo dito. Look at that. So, katulad ng equilibrium system, na-stress din tayo and sila rin, okay? What do we mean by stresses, no? When we say stress, those are either changes in the temperature, changes in the pressure and the volume, o kaya changes in concentration. Okay? So, kunwari, may reaction, dinagdagan mo ng tubig. O kaya, kunwari, dinagdagan mo ng hangin, dinagdagan mo ng chemicals, no? So those are external stresses. And according to Chatelier, sabi niya that an equilibrium system will partially offset the stress, okay? So that it will reach a new equilibrium position. So basically, pag nagdagdag ka ng chemicals, binago mo yung pressure, temperature, volume, yung system na mismo yung mag-a-adjust in order to achieve the new equilibrium. Okay? So what are the stresses? Number one, the changes in the concentration. Always remember that when you increase the concentration, it will push the reaction to the other side. Okay? So what do I mean by that? Kunwari, yung reactant mo, dinagdagan mo, the reaction will push itself to the product side. And kapag yung product side dinagdagan mo, mapupush yun to the other side, the reactant side. Look at the illustrations here. So we have beaker, we have test tube here. Nadagdagan yung reactant. So ano ginawa niya? To achieve equilibrium, ginawa niya yung reactant to form the product. To establish the new equilibrium. So ganun din dito. So ito, nadagdagan siya ng products. So in order to establish the equilibrium, some of the products are converted to the reactant to establish a new equilibrium. Okay? So, yun yung changes in concentration. Okay? So, kung saan ka nagdagdag ng chemicals, papunta sa opposite side yung reaction. Nagdagdag ka sa reactant, yung product side yung direction. Nagdagdag ka sa product, yung reactant side yung direction. Pag nagbawas naman, edi kung saan ka nagbawas, dun pupunta yung reaction. For example, nagbawas ka ng reactant, edi papunta sa reactant yung reaction. Nagbawas ka ng product, decrease the product, edi papunta sa product side yung reaction. Okay? So always think of it as parang tubig, no? Okay? So imagine mo, you have dalawang tabo, tapos magkakonekta sila. Pag dinagdagan mo ng tubig, saan dadalo yung tubig? To the right side. Ito, dagdagan mo ng tubig, saan pupunta yung tubig? To the left side. Okay? Ito, bawasan mo ng tubig, ano mangyayari? Papunta doon yung reaction. Ito, bawasan mo ng tubig, pupunta doon yung tubig, to the left side. Okay? So, ako dinedemo ko yan sa bata nung face-to-face. Pero ngayon, online tayo, so GIF lang yung mapapakita ko sa inyo. Okay. Next one, changes in the pressure and volume. So basically, itong pressure and volume, they have inverse relationship, no? So inverse relationship sila given by Boyle's law. So meaning, kapag tumaas yung pressure, bumababa yung volume, di ba? Okay. And kapag bumaba yung pressure, tumataas yung volume. Now, what's the effect? The effect is this, no? When you increase the pressure or decrease the volume, it will favor less moles of gas na. While if you decrease the pressure or increase the volume, you favor less moles, more moles of gas. Okay? Sorry, medyo nagmamadali. Okay, so ganun ang idea. Pag nag-increase ng pressure, decrease ng volume, any of the two, you will favor the less moles of the gas. But if you decrease the pressure, increase the volume, you favor the more moles of gas. So let's look at this demonstration here. So sabi dito, as the volume increases, what happens? Dumami yung reactant side. Nung in-increase naman niya yung pressure, look at what happened. Dumami yung black, dumami yung product side. What do I mean by more or less moles of gases ba? Suppose these are gas species, no? So AB and AB, gas silang dalawa. So for the reactant side, you have 2 moles of gas. So 1 mole of A, 1 mole of B. But in the product side, you have 1 mole of AB. Okay? So look, no? Let's see if consistent tong ginawa kong sulat sa taas. So ito, increase in pressure. So increase in pressure, less mole of gas, which is the product side. Kaya dumami yung itim. Okay? And then look at the opposite version. Kapag in-increase mo yung volume, ito yon, dadami yung mas maraming moles of gas, which is the reactant side. Okay? So yan. Okay, so that's how this equilibrium system adjusts according to the Chatelier principle. Meron pa. Temperature. So kapag exothermic reaction, dalawa lang yan eh. Exothermic meaning magre-release ng heat, no? So negative yung kanyang delta H value. Delta H is the energy, the amount of heat. Pag endothermic, this is absorbed heat, okay? So positive yung delta H dyan. So what will happen to the temperature? So magkaiba yan, no? So for an endothermic reaction, if you increase the temperature, you will push the reaction to the product side, no? Okay. And then if you decrease the temperature, you push the reaction to the reactant side. No? For exothermic, so opposite naman yung mangyayari. Kapag exothermic, if you increase the temperature, yung reactant side yung dadami. And then kapag nag-decrease ka ng temperature, yung product side yung favored. Okay? Medyo complicated siya kapag temperature because you have two types of system, endo and exo. So how will you think of it in a more simpler manner? Okay? Ganito na lang gawin nyo. Imagine heat as your reactant or product. And increasing temperature increases the concentration of the heat. No? So parang babalik ka ulit dito. So imagine nyo na yung concentration kasama na rin yung heat doon. So for example, this is an exothermic reaction. Pag exothermic, yung delta H nasa right side. Okay? Yung heat nasa right side or negative yung delta H. So if I increase the temperature, what will happen? So let's look. Yung nitrogen dioxide, it's brown. But when I put it in hot water, ano nangyayari? Okay? So kapag nilagay ko siya sa hot water, tumataas yung heat. So dumadami yung concentration ng product. Meaning you push the reaction to the reactant side. So mas lalong nagiging dark yung brown niya na. Yan. Kasi by increasing the temperature, you increase the concentration of heat, which pushes the reaction to the reactant side, making this more darker. Okay? Kaya nagiging super brown siya. Okay? So by the way, ayan. Medyo complicated. Pero don't worry, oontian ko lang to sa quiz. And then lastly, the effect of catalyst. Catalyst doesn't affect the reaction. Okay? Because it speeds up both directions. Okay? The rate of both directions. So, whether papunta sa right side or papunta sa reactant side, same effect lang. Okay? So, yun yung catalyst. And in the body, maraming catalyst tayo, especially mga enzymes. No? Yan. So, they speed up the chemical reactions in us. So, to summarize, you have your change in concentration. Kung sino dinagdagan mo, it will push the reaction to the opposite side. Dinagdagan mo reactant, edi it will push the reaction to the product side, and vice versa. When it comes to pressure and volume, you have to see yung gas concentration. Okay? So, kapag dinagdagan mo yung pressure, you favor the less mole of gases. Okay? Just as shown there, maraming black. But if increase the volume, you favor more gases. As shown there, maraming red and blue. Okay? Then in temperature, imagine heat as your reactant or product. Kapag endothermic, your heat is reactant, no? Okay, so andito yung heat natin. Or positive yung delta H. Kapag exothermic, your heat is a product, no? Okay, and then use the same logic as yung concentration. Okay, so by increasing the heat, you increase the concentration of heat, no? Either in the reactant or in the product side. Okay, and then use the logic, no? The same logic here para makuha mo yung trend. Yan. And then for the catalyst, wala siyang effect overall because both sides of the reaction are equally favored. Okay? Both sides are sped up. Okay, so there are some calculations here. I will upload them na lang in Canvas, yung solution. Okay, so don't worry, upload ko na lang. Kasi 1 minute na lang pala. So upload ko na lang to siguro tomorrow and then you try it na lang and then let me know if nakuha niyo yung answer. And same as this thing, okay? Meron tayong ganito. Apparently, nagkamali ako ng value nito. May mali dyan. Edit ko na lang. Okay, so anyway, I'll answer this very quickly. So as you can see, delta H is positive. So kapag positive, ano sabi natin? If delta H is positive, that's endothermic. So we can imagine heat as your reactant, no? Tapos kapag positive yung delta H, that's endothermic. Okay? So reacting mixture is heated. So by increasing the temperature, you increase your reactant, which will push the reaction to the right side, no? So it will go to the right, no? To the right yung reaction. Kasi by increasing the heat, since yung heat mo nasa reactant side kasi siya ay endothermic reaction, by increasing it, you push the reaction to the right. Ngayon naman, next, some N2F2 gas is removed at a constant temperature. So it has something to do with the concentration. So again, sabi ko earlier, kung sino binawasan mo, papunta sa kanya yung reaction. So if you decrease the amount of the reactant, you push the reaction to the reactant side. Okay? And the next one, pressure is decreased at a constant temperature. When you decrease the pressure or increase the volume, what is favored? The more moles of gases, no? So you favor the more moles of gases if you decrease the pressure or increase the volume. So sino yung mas maraming moles of gas? Okay, so sa reactant side, you only have 1 mole of gas. On the product side, you have 2 moles of gas. So you favor the product side, no? So that's to the right. And then for the question of catalyst added, just write no effect. Kasi wala talagang effect. Okay? So pasensya niya, medyo na-rush na. Kasi we are overtime na. So I don't want to extend further. But I will upload the solution to calculation problem like this. And then yung answer din dito sa kabila with explanation, gagawin ko na lang din ng post sa Canvas. Okay? Pasensya na, I'm over time, 2 minutes. But ayan, we just ended chapter 3. Okay? So I hope you learned something, especially when it comes to the calculation. There are so many problems in the worksheet that you can deal with. So good luck with that. Next week, we will start with chapter 4. It is the last chapter prior to your final period. Sorry, finals agad. Midterm period, okay? So, yan. So, thank you and enjoy the rest of the night. So, have a good weekday again ahead. Na? So, thank you and see you again next week. Bye-bye. Ingat po always. Asan yung mas? Ayan. Bye-bye.